Bhakti Vedanta Swami Puna Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Vaskacha Devatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Gaura Nitai, Haribo, Srila Prabhupada ki. Just today, I just want to share something. Let's see. This is a letter Srila Prabhupada wrote for Vishnu Jana, April 4, 1971. So Prabhupada wrote, I have got confidence in you because Krishna has given you special talent for chanting Hare Krishna mantra. This is the great Vishnu Jana. He's a wonderful singer. When you are chanting in Los Angeles temple in the evenings or in the mornings, I enjoy your chanting so nicely that I thought myself immediately carried to Vaikuntha. So I'm always thankful to you for your activities in announcing the interest of our mission. Thank you very much. Most probably, when I return to Los Angeles, I may call you back just to hear your chanting of Hare Krishna mantra. So take advantage and chant those who are coming by our chanting of Hare Krishna mantra. You'll be victorious and try to introduce our books there, and you to be a great missionary success. One Krishna book sold means we go forward one step in our Krishna consciousness. Should always remember this. Dr. Traditional Jensen. For April 1971. I just want to share that.
Kushi Mataji, you can share the readings.
Kushi. So it start here April 23rd, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Somebody want to take the lead and read today? I always read first, but somebody wants to read? Give one, give it two. Okay. I will read. April 23rd, 1976, there was an initiation ceremony held this morning, during which Prabhupada gave a short lecture explaining how the seed of devotion is planted by the merits of Guru and Krishna. For no's and one yes, that to make your life successful. It is very easy. 4 no's and 1 yes. That to make a life successful. It is very easy. It's not difficult. But Maya is very strong. Sometimes deviates us. So when there is endeavor by the Maya to deviate us, just pray to Krishna. Please save me. I'm surrendered, fully surrendered, and kindly give me protection. And Krishna will give you protection. But don't miss the opportunity. That's my request. I have all good wishes and blessings upon you. So let's take the opportunity of bhakti. Bhakti Lata Pish. Guru Kripa and Pushta Krishna Swamis also gave short lectures. Then Prabhupada handed out the japa beads and gave spiritual name to his new disciples. There were about 10 new devotees, and I was happy to see that one of them was a boy called John, who Prabhupada named Jayashila. I met him several years ago on the main street of Melbourne and sold him a Bhagavad Gita. He remembered me also. See, everything started with the book. Afterward, Prabhupada dictated a short letter to thanks addressed to the assembled devotees of the Australian Yatra. I'm very grateful for all your offerings of dakshin to our spiritual master. This is the system. Now all of you must be very sincerely follow the regulative principles. 4 don'ts and 1 do. No illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, no meat eating, and always chanting Hare Krishna. Minimum 16 rounds daily. If you take very seriously these principles, then Krishna will bless you without any doubt. Later, in mid-morning, Prabhupada received Mr. Dixon, the State Minister for Social Services, Sport, and Recreation. He was relatively young for a man of his position in politics, perhaps in his late 30s, early 40s. A beautiful young secretary accompanied him. Mr. Dixon was respectful and appreciative that Prabhupada's disciples are free from drugs and alcohol. He inquired whether some aspects of Krishna consciousness could be incorporated into the life of young people in the state. Prabhupada explained that our process is to purify the heart, something not possible without association of devotees. He invited the minister to send any young person to us and assured him that we will rectify him or her. Mr. Dixon explained that he was thinking more in terms of general education for the young. Prabhupada, however, told him that real education means but 3 things: to teach a young man to see all women as his mother, the real education; to teach a young man to see all women as his mother; to see another person's property as garbage in the street; and to see all other living beings on the same level as himself. There is no need for PhDs and other academic titles. He said that character training is the real basis for becoming a pundit, a learned person. He added that over and above this, one should also understand how everything in creation is the sole property of God. Such knowledge, he told Mr. Dixon, would end war and starvation. Next, please.
The Prabhupada observed that in the United Nations there is simply talk, but no unity. He asked why they don't pass a resolution that all land is property of God and all people sons of God. On that basis, everything could be shared. But he said the problem is that you are claiming this land as your own and not allowing others to come. He explained that if the land were properly utilized, no one would starve and economic problems would be solved. If that was the if that was solved, then all social, religious, political, and philosophical problems would also be solved. Mr. Dixon, however, did not think it that simple. If every country produced all the food it was capable of and give it to countries that truly needed it, he wondered if that might not act to toward their intents their in, incentive to produce their own food. He felt there should be some exchange of money for the food. But Prabhupada told him that money was not required because simply producing food grains and milk would solve everyone's problem. But he said they are utilizing the land for growing tobacco, for cigarettes and coffee, but going to hell. It was an interesting meeting, but it seemed that the minister had been looking for some moral magic formula. Whereas Prabhupada made it clear that unless people become Krishna conscious, there is no solution. After Mr. Dixon left, Prabhupada commented about his secretary. He himself has no character. See, here it is an open secret to keep a beautiful girl as secretary. So, where is purity? Purity. Marriage is a taboo, and to keep a secretary is a good job. He told us how in Vedic times death, birth, and marriage were all very important events, which were observed with great ceremony. But now, in the age, marriage is practically affairs, so social reformation. But there is no idea how the society will be happy. They were trying to remove the intoxication, LSD, but not to see why the LSD has come. They do not try to stop the cause, neither they will take advice. That is the fact. So, how will they be able to? He is big officer, drawing high salary. That's all. There is no effect. Neither there can be any effect. It is not possible. They do not know, neither they want it. So we are advocating. Remove these four sinful activities. So nobody will agree. Illicit sex is our life. To keep a friend, to keep a secretary, and we are advising no illicit sex. But Prabhupada said it is not only the politicians, even the so called sannyasis and yogis keeping secretaries. Dogs tail. Either you become sannyasi or grihastha or anything, but the tail is this side. You may graze it as much as possible, but the whole tendency is sex. That's all. In different dresses only, the object is sex. That this is going on. Some of them are openly declaring I am for sex, and some are show bottle. But the object is sex, the whole world. And the sannyasis like Rajneesh, they are advocating. This is life sex. By sex indulgence, you get salvation. Mata, next one.
As he took his midday massage in his sitting room, Prabhupada answered a couple of letters. Yashodanandan Swami wrote from Hyderabad, South India, to request that the Brahma Samhita, already published by Gaudiya Math, be reprinted by the BBT. He also suggested that Srila Prabhupada could perhaps write an introduction to the book. He and Achyutananda Swami are in the process of producing a cassette tape in which they chant verses 29 to 64 from chapter 5. They intended to use the proceeds from the sale of the tapes to help with the printing costs of the Brahma Samhita. He, Achyutananda Swami, and the party of 7 brahmacharis and one Gurukula boy, Jagmana Dasa, are headed to Karnataka for a preaching program there. Prabhupada replied that the BBT trustees can decide whether to print Brahma Samhita, and if they approve, he will be glad to write an introduction. He also awarded Brahmana initiation to Jagmana. Rameshwara Maharaja sent a letter from Los Angeles asking where the devotees could distribute a book by Dr. Stilson Judah, an American professor. Dr. Judah has written one of the first scholarly study of the Krishna consciousness movement and published it under the title Hare Krishna and the Counterculture. It is a favorable work, and Srila Prabhupada has expressed his appreciation of it many times to his visitors and news reporters. However, he is not in favor of us selling it. He told Rameshwara that we should only distribute our own books. Prabhupada also told Rameshwara Swami for the BBT trustees should discuss whether to print Brahma Samhita. The head of the travelling bus program here in Australia, Sabhapati Dasa, and other local devotees have been very diligent in making arrangements for Prabhupada to meet with as many important and interested people as possible. This afternoon, 2 young men from the Mormon church came to visit. They were very respectful and seemed to appreciate the disciplined life of Prabhupada's devotees. They had lengthy and amicable discussion. Prabhupada brought forth his standard criticism that Christians in general are not following Christ's teaching. Yes, they claim that Savior and the visitors agree, but explained that their particular church did try to follow the instruction of Christ. At one point, Prabhupada said that devotees accept Jesus as Guru. But as usual with Christians, their meat eating and our deity worship proved to be points of contention. As he often does in discussion with Christians, Srila Prabhupada quoted the commandment, "Thou shalt not kill," and told them that Christians disobey the order by supporting killing on large scale. One of our devotees observed that in the Book of Mormon, it even says that meat should only be taken in times of starvation and famine. Yet Mormons eat meat regularly. The visitor considered this was a fact, but then pointed out that it also says if a person does not eat meat, then he cannot be considered or ordained of God. So there seemed to be some contradictory statements that they weren't very clear about themselves. They then attempted to change the subject by quoting a verse from the Bible that states that one should not worship idols. They seemed to feel that Prabhupada was unfairly admonishing them for not following one commandment, yet he was also not following the commandments. Prabhupada told them that we don't worship idol, we worship God, pointing to a book they had given him with a picture on the front cover of a temple topped with a statue of angel called Moran. Prabhupada said they were also giving respect to a statue, but the crows came and passed stool in it. Even if one considered the deities to be mere statues meant to honor a great person, Prabhupada asked them what was good sense, to keep the statues indoors or to place them outside where the crows and birds could pass stool up on them. On the Mormons agreed it was better to keep such statues indoors, but the other became little acrimonious. Okay, here's some of my good sense. You have got statues in your temples, and I noticed there were a lot of flies in there the other night crawling all over it and doing there whatever they did. So you mean a fly coming and a crow passing stool is the same thing? Prapada asked, raising his eyebrows. Very good sense. It is very good reason that because the flies cannot be checked and the crows shouldn't be allowed to pass through, at least you stop the crows. We have done that. We don't allow the crows to come. It was slightly uncomfortable moment and the man's companion decided it was time to leave. However, Srila Prabhupada quickly made them feel at ease again by saying that it was nice that they were talking frankly. He told them that he very much appreciated a short passage he had earlier read in their book about coming to the knowledge of the glory of God. The knowledge of God, he explained, is Krishna consciousness. He gave them the practical method of glorifying God if we drink water or see sunshine or moonshine, while appreciating that we cannot manufacture these things. Then drinking water or seeing sunshine and moonshine are glorification of God. Similarly, he explained, when we see the deity and offer him a flower, this is the practical way to glorify Lord. Throughout, throughout this discussion, the atmosphere remained pleasant. Srila Prabhupada was very cordial, and the guests also maintained a mood of respect, not eager to get into any arguments. They gave Srila Prabhupada their Book of Mormon, and he sold each of them a signed copy of Sri Ishopanishad. Balrama Prabhu, the temple president, passed on some rather disturbing information to me this afternoon. He said Pushta Krishna Swami has admitted to him that he is presently only chanting 2 rounds of japa a day instead of the prescribed 16. The reason he gave that was he was overloaded with work because he has transcribed Srila Prabhupada's nightly dictations on Srimad Bhagavatam as well. Do all the other duties of the secretary. This is a problem that I'm not sure how to deal with. I don't want to disturb Srila Prabhupada with it. He has enough to contend with without having to worry about his own party. At the same time, I'm also reluctant to approach Pushta Krishna about it. He may not take it well. He is an intelligent man, but he doesn't like to hear any criticism of himself or suggestion that he might not be doing things correctly. The other day, I was telling Balrama about the car crash we had after leaving Vrindavana 2 weeks ago and the damage to the Mercedes. Pushta Krishna overheard us and got quite agitated and defensive because I suggested it was his fault. So for now, I think it is best to leave it and see how things develop. Kushimata, you want to?
Next to read,
Yes,
please.
Mata, I will continue.
Okay.
The local devotees are cooking for Srila Prabhupada and he has been well satisfied with their efforts. I have learned that he doesn't particularly like avocados. They offered him some for lunch and he left them aside, saying that they weren't so nice. Continuing his Bhagavad Gita lecture series at 7:30 p.m., Prabhupada spoke on verse 4 of chapter 9. He explained how everything comes from God and how God is within everything. At one point, perhaps as a result of his earlier conversation with the Mormons, he took the opportunity to explain why we worship the deities. Here it is said, Maya tatam idam sharvam jagat avyakta murtina. And that expansion, that impersonal expansion, not manifested. You cannot see God in person in this expansion. Therefore, sometimes we foolishly say that, can you show me God? God is there. You have to make your eyes to see. Just like God is here in the temple, but somebody is thinking that this is not God. This is a statue or an idol. They are worshipping idol, supposing it is idol. But if God is everywhere, why he is not in the idol? Where is what is the argument? If God is everywhere, then why he is not idol? God has the power, and actually, this is not idol. This is God's energy. The same example, the sunshine is everywhere. So originally, sunshine is the cause of everything. Similarly, God's influence is the cause of material things also. In the question and answer session that followed, the first query was about Prabhupada's view on Prabhuji, what's the pronunciation?
Psychiatry.
Psychiatry. The questioner wanted to know whether
Psychiatry.
I cannot pronounce it. Psychiatric.
Psychiatry. Psychiatry.
Okay. Prabhuji, I continue.
Good enough.
Treatment was required to cure mental disorders. Prabhupada's answer was lengthy and at times humorous, offering a definition of mental illness unknown to today's psychiatrist. Oh, sorry, Prabhupada. First of all, we have to understand
Okay,
that
good, good.
everything is expansion of God's energy. So if you understand God, then the energies are automatically understood. Yashmina Vijnati Sharvam Etam Vijnatam Bhavati. This is the Vedic injunction. If you water on the root of the tree, then whole tree becomes luxuriantly flourished. So our proposition is you take the root, Krishna, and you will understand everything properly from the root. If you want to understand the tree, whole tree, you try to understand if from the root, not from the top. So disease, any disease, if you understand the root cause of the disease, you can give proper medicine and he is cured. So, so
Psychiatrist.
characteristic. Oh, Prabhu. Generally, their patients are crazy fellows. Generally, they treat crazy fellows. Is it not? No sane man goes to a psychiatrist. The devotees were laughing as Prabhupada continued. Is it not a fact? So all these crazy men sometimes make a psychiatric. Hey Krishna, you are working. Psychiatric are crazy also. So more or less everyone is crazy. That is not my layman's opinion. It is the opinion of a big medical surgeon. There was a case in the court, murder case. The murderer pleaded that I became crazy mad at that time. So the medical man was called to examine. He was great civil surgeon in Calcutta. So he gave his opinion in the court that so far I have treated many patients. So many opinion is that everyone is more or less a madman. More or less. It is a question of degree. So our opinion is that like that. So our opinion is like that that anyone who is not under the direct connection with God, he's crazy man, he's madman. Now you can treat. So so we are also psychiatrists. We are pushing this Krishna consciousness because anyone who is in this material world is more or less crazy madman. He is completely under the control of God. But still he has the audacity to say, no, I don't believe in God. Crazy man. So anyone who does not believe in God, he is crazy fellow. You can treat him. Everyone is patient. This crazy fellow is full under the control of material nature, and he is still thinking that he is independent. That is craziness. Everyone is thinking like that. So everyone is a patient of psychiatrist. How we can declare independence? There is no independence. This is knowledge. Nobody wants to die, but nature says you must die. But the crazy fellow says I am independent. I think like this. What is the value of your thinking? You may think in your favor, but the nature will not allow you. So everyone is crazy who is declaring independence. He is a crazy. Srila Prabhupada complimented his inquirer. This question is very nice. Anyone who does not believe in God, does not surrender to God, he is a crazy fellow. That's all. After taking a few questions, he brought the discussion to a close and left the temple room amidst a lively kirtana. Prabhupada looked exuberant and thoroughly satisfied after an active day of preaching. April 24th, 1976. Despite the cold weather and the often overcast Melbourne sky, Srila Prabhupada is keeping to his daily walking schedule at the botanical gardens bordering the river Yarrow. As he explained to Mr. Dixon yesterday, if he doesn't walk, then simply sitting all day, the body becomes jammed up. And as he strolled through the green park, past the small lakes and tall reeds, he spoke about the meaning of real happiness. He repeated what he told reporter Carol Jarvis a few days ago that happiness without spiritual understanding is dog's happiness, no happiness at all. He pointed to a large tree and explained that because it has very dull consciousness, it can stand for 5,000 years without discomfort. But if we had to stand for 5 hours, only 5 hours, we would not able to tolerate it because our human consciousness is more developed. Therefore, one who has no understanding that he is suffering in the material world is simply an animal. One of the devotees ventured that sometimes a devotee is more unhappy than a materialistic because he is aware of his unhappiness. Then that means he is not devotee. Prabhupada said devotee means for the first sign will be happy. Brahma Buddha Prasannatma. If he is not Prasannatma, he is rascal. He has not even entered devotional life. He is outside. That is the test. Just like Dhruva Maharaj, when he saw Vishnu, he said, everything is all right. I don't want anything. Swamina Pratortha Kratorthasma. This Vaishnava. That is Vaishnava. And if he is still in want or and if he is still in want or unhappiness, that means he has no spiritual life at all. He is simply making a show. Driving back to the temple, Prabhupada illustrated the meaning of greatness by telling us an anecdote of about Alexander the Great. When a thief was captured and brought before him for punishment, the thief accused Alexander the Great that what is the difference between you and me? I'm a small thief, you are a big thief. That's all. Why you are punishing me? You are a big thief. You are doing the same thing. Then he was let loose. Prabhupada laughed as he took the role of Alexander. Yes, what is the difference? I am a big thief. He went on to explain it means Alexander the Great. Actually, he was great. Otherwise, he is the emperor and an ordinary thief in excusing him. And he said, yes, I am thief. He admitted this, that is greatness. But if he was not great, then he would have hanged him or punished him. Oh, you are accusing me. But no, he accepted. That is greatness. That is greatness. Mistake is one fault, but to accept that I have done mistake, that is greatness. Pushta Krishna Maharaj recalled the morning walk last week on Juhu Beach in Bombay when Dr. Patel admitted he was a Mudha. Therefore, he was no longer a Mudha. Prabhupada agreed, yes, because he has understood that what I am doing, I am a Mudha. Very good, Prabhuji.
Next one, please.
Okay, anyone else? Prabjot Mata, Saurabh, Prabhuji, you want to? Lucia Mata. Okay,
Who's next?
I don't think so.
Go,
In
Michelle.
every
Go,
Shall I
you
continue
wanna?
or
Okay. Neha, you continue? Yes, that's exactly what
okay?
I'm saying.
Okay. In every temple, there is a tape recording of Srila Prabhupada chanting the Gayatri Mantra. This is played in the ear of anyone who received Brahman initiation through the mail. This afternoon, Tushta Krishna Maharaj requested Prabhupada to give him such a tape, but Prabhupada refused. Prabhupada said that there is no need for his men in New Zealand to receive Brahman initiation since they are only worshipping pictures, not deities. He also mentioned that men should keep their head shaved, but most of Tushta's followers have grown their hair out. Tushta Krishna reasoned that this is because most of his men are householders. But Prabhupada tipped his head towards me and said, so just like our Hari Sauri, he is also a householder, but he is always clean shaven. Tushta Krishna also brought up the Eller's plot against Siddha Sarupa that Sudama Vipra claimed that to have uncovered during the festival in Mayapur last month. Tushta said that he had read a letter proving it, but he could not produce any proof to substantiate this claim. Prabhupada stated firmly he does not accept that there is such a plot. Rather, he has been continually asking them all to cooperate with ISKCON. They do not refuse directly, but as Tushta Krishna put it at end of meeting, I do not see any chance of working together in this possible future. Prabhupada's final comment was the reason for the differentiation between the two camps is envy. Those who are envious will dry up, he said, and those who are sincere will flourish. Some new controversy has also arisen over Prabhupada's upcoming trip to New Zealand. News has filtered that the Tustas men there are informing everyone that Prabhupada is going to their farm but not to the ISKCON temple. They are claiming this as proof as they are correct in the dispute. On hearing this, Prabhupada immediately concealed his visit to Tushta's farm and said, they can come and see him at our temple. I have noticed that when discussing the two groups, Prabhupada always refers to ISKCON as our camp and Tushta's group as them. Mata, can you scroll? A young bearded, long-haired professor from a local university came to visit in late afternoon. Challenging and disrespectful, he argued with Srila Prabhupada for an hour. He appeared to be quite envious of Prabhupada's achievement. Although he carefully avoided direct accusations against Prabhupada personally, he did say that he considered Prabhupada's disciple to be fanatics. Prabhuji, what is this spelled? Fanatics?
Fanatic is a person that,
Fanat.
despite reason, he follows a particular set of ideas. You know,
Okay.
like climate change fanatics or religious fanatics. You know, they don't see anything but what they want to see.
Okay. Prabhupada patiently tried to explain the basic concepts of spiritual life, naturally but humbly assuming the position of an authority on the subjects. But the discussion progressed that the scholar became more and more agitated. He could not accept Prabhupada's comment in an objective way, but rather saw them as attacks on his own ideas. Unable to appreciate Srila Prabhupada's devotional understanding, whenever Prabhupada quoted Krishna from Bhagavad Gita, the professor offered an interpretation of his own. Finally, he reached the point of directly insulting Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada has understood that this meeting was not getting through the scholar. So he very objectively said, it takes a little brain to understand what Krishna says. The teacher turned red and stepped back. Well, I don't think you're using any brain. At this, Guru Kripa Maharaj angrily intervened. We invite you here as the guest of our spiritual master, and now you are insulting him. If you say anything more, you will have to leave. It was a delicate moment, but Srila Prabhupada deftly cooled the situation down. Srila Prabhupada knows how to deal with the person who is unable to accept proper instruction so that his false ego is not unduly ruffled. He did so expertly in this case. He simply stopped trying to preach to the man. He switched to the subject away from philosophy and kept it light-hearted. Calm the man dropped in his defensiveness and developed a friendlier mood. Prabhupada even had him laughing by the end of the discussion. After the meeting, the man took prasadam with the devotees. He then apologized for the misunderstanding. It turned out he is affiliated with some pseudo-spiritualist movement, so was already a philosophical odds with Prabhupada before the meeting began. Prabhupada later said that many people are becoming increasingly envious of the success of our movement. In contrast to the professor, a family of 5 came to pay their humble respects to His Divine Grace. Although Westerners, they are all initiated disciples in the Ramanujaya Sampradaya. Despite their Vaishnava lineage, they also worship the Panchopashana, the 5 primary demigods. They have been chanting Ramanama for 16 years and offer all their food to their family deities. They were very humble and respectful towards Srila Prabhupada and presenting him with fresh fruits and few dollar dakshina. Srila Prabhupada advised them to worship Sita, Rama and Lakshmana in the new home come temple they are planning. He explained to them that Krishna is the topmost personality and all the demigods are his servants. It was evident that although they were initiated to a Vaishnava Sampradaya, they lacked clear philosophical understanding. Nevertheless, because of their pity, they accepted everything Prabhupada said and were thankful for his guidance and advice. Okay, Antaramata, you want to?
Lakshmi, you don't want to read?
No, you keep going. Next time I will read. They are doing very well.
Guru Kripa Swami has been leading dynamic kirtanas every morning and evening, and everyone is extremely enthusiastic. Srila Prabhupada is very pleased with the vibrant Melbourne temple, its beautiful deities and exuberant devotees. Since his arrival here, at least 4 or 5 new people have began to chant on beats, and all those who came to the programs listened intently to Prabhupada's lecture. Today, 4 Australian devotees left for Japan to join the Namahatta Sankirtana party, which operates under Guru Kripa Maharaja's guidance. They will collecting funds for new farm just about to be purchased here in Australia. At the same time, Guru Kripa Maharaja wants to give a big donation for Mayapur development. In a final meeting this afternoon, Prabhupada granted the entire assembly of devotees darshana in his room. He did the same thing last year and happily fulfilled the devotees' request to keep up the tradition. It was a light-hearted, happy occasion, and each devotee had the opportunity to come forward to present some dakshina. Srila Prabhupada encouraged them all to go on working together, to maintain their enthusiasm by preaching and kirtana, and to go on worshipping the deities very gorgeously. He told the devotees that we have to follow the spiritual master's instructions, perfect ourselves first and then others. Putting emphasis on the need to preach, he said, we all have to become Guru. And even if there is a split, still the standard should not change. It was just like him and his god brothers, he said. There is no disagreement as far as the standard of worship is concerned. Prabhupada also stressed that the highest service is to distribute his books. Throughout the visit, Ugra Shravan Prabhu has been snapping photos at every opportunity, especially in Srila Prabhupada's room when he receives guests. Prabhupada has allowed him a fair bit of freedom and Ugra Shravan took full advantage. He showed us some of the results today. The best one was a beautiful close-up of Prabhupada's lotus feet, taken as he relaxed on his asana, showing all the lines on the whole, on the sole of his right foot. Although I massage his feet every day, still I never tire of seeing them. They are all attractive and constant reminder of the shelter we all seek to attain. April 26, 1976. From 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 a.m., Prabhupada took his morning walk around the botanical gardens. As we walked along the outer perimeter, Chitta Dasa asks if a devotee is always unhappy to see others suffering. Yes, Prabhupada replied, this is Krishna anxiety. This kind of anxiety is welcome. He explained that in the material world, people are in anxiety to get money and sex, but in the spiritual realm, to the anxiety is to get Krishna. The anxiety is there, but the quality is different. Chittahari inquired further. If we are in anxiety that we cannot perform devotional service nicely, that is all right. Prabhupada explained that it is not so easy to become anxious for Krishna. One can get such anxiety only after many, many millions of lives of pious activities. If one becomes full of anxiety for Krishna, that is the highest stage of perfection. He said that this stage cannot be limited. However, by following the regulative principles, one gradually comes to this platform. Chitahari asks, if one is in anxiety because he has a falling down from the following the regulative principles, is that material anxiety? Srila Prabhupada said yes, anxiety for oneself is material, whereas anxiety for Krishna is spiritual. Smiling. He quoted Rupa Goswami, who said that if one can purchase anxiety for Krishna, one must do it at any price. But the price, he said ironically, is that one must be anxiety to have it. The anxiety is not available even after millions of births of pious activities. So if we are performing the deity worship and we get in anxiety, how to make it nice? Chittahari asks. Yes, that is Krishna anxiety. Srila Prabhupada said. If you become anxious how to worship deity, how to dress Krishna nicely, that will develop your anxiety for Krishna. Therefore, the deity worship is essential. Exactly in time to get up, to offer Mangala Arati, to dress, the anxiety is beginning of Krishna anxiety. Then when you become perfect, you will be always be anxious for Krishna, and that is perfectional stage. Therefore, by the injunction of Shastra regulative, it is the way of creating the anxiety, so we must follow. Then we will come to the real anxiety. Another devotee asks if being in anxiety about whether he is distributing a lot of books or not is spiritual. Again, Srila Prabhupada gave his confirmation. For selling books, anxiety is Krishna anxiety. If you become very anxious how to sell more books, that is Krishna anxiety. That is not trade anxiety, that is Krishna anxiety. Next one, please.
Okay, I'll read a little bit. Guru Kripa Maharaj he took advantage of the conversation to clean up a managerial point. Some people say that when I go on Sankirtan to sell books, I become too much in anxiety if I'm not doing well, so I will rather not do it. So when I go in Sankirtan to sell books, I become in too much anxiety if I'm not doing well. So I'd rather not to do it. Prabhupada replied, no, that's Krishna anxiety. He does not know. Let him know that is Krishna's anxiety. Mother Yasoda became mother of Krishna so that she could always remain anxiety for Krishna. Whatever Krishna said, that is mother's anxiety. Therefore, she became mother. How to become in Krishna anxiety? This philosophy, nobody knows. Everybody takes Krishna as the father. Father means I am anxiety less. Father, you supply my wants. And to become father of Krishna means to purchase anxiety for Krishna. This philosophy they do not know. Prabhupada said that Mother Yasoda is in constant anxiety for Krishna, wondering if he is safe. if some monkey is bothering him, or if some demon is threatening. It is a transcendental irony that only the devotees can understand. The Mayavadis want Shanti, peace, but they cannot become anxiety-less. The anxiety should be purified from material contamination, and it should be only for Krishna. After returning to greet the deities and receive the devotees' offering of Guru Puj, Prabhupada took an early massage and had his lunch. Then we drove to the airport to catch mid-afternoon flight to New Zealand. Burijana Das and his wife Jagatarini Das join us and will accompany Srila Prabhupada as far as Los Angeles. Guru Kripa Maharaj chose to travel in what looked to me like a rather outlunched white silk suit with matching berets, on the plea of avoiding any immigration difficulties entering New Zealand. However, as we walk along the concourse, a couple of uniformed immigration officials suddenly appear. We spoke briefly with Guru Kripa and walked away with him to the side room. He reappeared 10 minutes later after being subject to a thorough passport check and interview. The officers thought he looked a little suspicious. Srila Prabhupada didn't comment either on his suit or the incident. As they had when Prabhupada arrived, the devotees gave him a roused send-off, chanting and dancing all around him right up to the plane door. As he went down the escalator, the devotees kept abreast by running down the up escalator, and Srila Prabhupada grinned to see their enthusiasm. As the plane he turned and waved at them as he entered, flashing a brilliant smile to show his appreciation, causing them to jump and shout with happiness. Next page. Gaura Hari, Krishna Bihari. Anybody? Keep going. Chapter 2, Auckland, April 26, 1976. Wow, 7, 8, 9, 40 years ago, exactly. 40 years, amazing. With 3 hours time difference and 3 hours travel, it was 10 p.m. when our Air New Zealand flight touched down in Auckland. There at the airport to greet Srila Prabhupada were 50 or 60 jubilantly chanting devotees with drums, kartals, and guitars. It was quite an heterogeneous crowd, most of them from Tushta Krishna Swami group. The local ISKCON temple had only about 12 men and women. On the way to the temple, cars and vans packed with Asai devotees stepped ahead, waving, smiling, and shouting Jai Prabhupada as they passed. ISKCON Sri Sri Radha Giridhari Temple, Mount Eden. The Auckland Temple is a large two-story suburban house with a spacious garden and scattered fruit trees. The property was originally purchased by Tushta Krishna Swami before he and the entire population of the temple abandoned it to go on their way in 1973. Okay, I see. Okay. How are we doing now? All good? Have some complaint. The devotees were already lining the pathway when we arrived, and they all eagerly squeezed in behind Srila Prabhupada after he entered the building. It was too late to have darshan of the deities, so Srila Prabhupada went straight to his quarters on the upper floor. As many devotees as possible crowded into a small room, and Srila Prabhupada happily preached to his eager audience for a short while. He complimented the devotees on their enthusiastic spirit and emphasized the valuable opportunity of the human form of life brings. He read the second and third slokas of the newly published The Nectar of Instruction, briefly explaining point by point the 6 things necessary for spiritual advancement, as well as the 6 things to avoid. He requests all the devotees to read it, telling them that it contains all the information necessary for attaining perfection in spiritual life. Prabhupada took a little puri and sabji as everyone looked on, and then had me distribute his remnants along with some sweets. Tusta Krishna man had made on their farm. When I finished, Prabhupada, as kind as thoughtful as ever, asked me if I had taken anything. I shook my head. So you also take, he said, with a loving smile. It was shortly before midnight when the devotees left his room. The temple president, Yasomatinandana Das, a tall, lean brahmachari from Australia, remained behind for a few minutes to ask if the Gaurnitai and Jagannath deities could be formally installed. Prabhupada looked at him quizzically and asked why. Obviously not expecting that Prabhupada would ask him why, Yasomatinandana appeared a little flustered. He said that since this is Lord Chaitanya's sanctuary movement, it would be nice to worship Gaurnitai. He also said that Jagannath deities are presently worshipped while so small they can hardly be seen. It would be all right if they install larger deities, he asked, and drop the little deities into the sea. Yasomatinanda's question and tone of voice was somewhat ambiguous. It wasn't clear whatever he felt the Yatra needed deities, and he was therefore asking for Prabhupada's formal approval, or whether he wants Prabhupada to decide if they really need them or not. Prabhupada became irritated and said to the sannyas present, he does not understand the value of the deity. Yasomatinandana became confused, so he asked, well, should they continue to worship the small ones and just bring the large ones out for Ratha Yatra? Now Prabhupada became annoyed. Just see, he said. He thinks they are dolls. Looking slightly disgusted, he shook his head. But despite his vexation, he concluded the conversation by saying that he would think about it more. I think let's finish this April 27th, 1976. For this morning walk, the devotees took Prabhupada out to the domain, a local park with small ponds, walkways, and various statues. One depicts a Viking warrior on horseback blowing a horn. Yasomatinandana asked if the Vikings were Kshatras. It's okay, right? It's just this part here. No, Prabhupada said, the Kshatras fought on religious principles. They were noble warriors, not murderers. What about the modern soldiers? Yasomatinandana inquired. Do they go to heavenly planets when they die on the battlefield? Prabhupada shook his head. They're simply demons fight demons for economic reasons. How they can go to heaven? They go to hell, both sides. Okay. So we stop here now. I got the red card. And take note, right on Tara, please. This is after the 26th, right? 26th. Prabhupada was scheduled that one. Okay. Now, with permission, I'll take my leave. Today's been a very full day. Hare Krishna. Please bless me. Hare Bol.
Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.